Hi, today I'm at Kingstown upon Spey on the Moray Firth, and the plan is to walk about 4 miles west along the coast to the old World War II naval gun battery. And if all goes to plan, I should do a stealthy camp there tonight. So I think we'll get going. Well, that's me at the Lossie Battery. So it's probably about time I told you why all this concrete and steel is here on this beautiful beach. In 1940, it seemed highly likely that Nazi Germany was going to invade the British Isles. The French resistance had intercepted some German plans of an operation called Operation Sea Lion, which kind of indicated that the Germans intended to invade on the south coast of England and somewhere along the northeast coast of Scotland, giving a pincer attack with troops coming from Norway and troops coming from France. Now, the British Army was heavily depleted after the rapid withdrawal of the expeditionary force at Dunkirk, and it became fairly quickly apparent that we didn't have enough troops to secure the whole coastline of Britain. Rapidly, coastal defences were put in place. They built them in areas that were considered to be the most likely for beach landings, and they put defensive concrete blocks and pillboxes there with the intention that should an invasion happen at those points, troops and home guard would be brought to the area and they would staff the pillboxes. They were never intended for them all to be manned all the time. Now, on the Moray Firth, the coastal defences ran from Cullen Bay to Findorn Bay because it was considered to be the most likely place that an amphibious assault would land on this stretch of coast. Now, here at Lossie, it was decided that they needed a slightly more permanent defensive system. Now, on the other side of the Moray Firth at the Cromarty, there was a fuelling depot, and that had got some large guns built at the Suitors. They pointed out to sea, and they were there to protect from naval assault. But it seemed that there was a bit of a blind spot here. What with the fueling depot over there and 2 or 3 big air bases behind us, they decided that this place needed some heavy armour as well. The coastal battery that was built consisted of 2 gun emplacements, 2 searchlight stations with separate generator buildings for each, 2 machine gun posts, a fire control observation post, and an ammunition magazine with buildings connected to each of the gun by trenches. At the front of the battery were the 2 gun emplacements. These were armed with large 6-inch Mark II guns. Now, these guns were old World War I naval guns that had been taken from warships when they were mothballed at the end of the First World War. They were powerful long-range guns, and they were intended to target German warships that would be providing cover for any invading force. The 227th Battery of the 501 Coastal Artillery Regiment manned the coastal station once it was completed on the 28th of May 1941. And unlike most of the coastal defences, these were manned 24/7 until the end of the war. In April 1945, the gun battery went out of operation, and 2 months later, the guns were removed. They've been left ever since, as you see them now. I hope you enjoyed that bit of history. I think it's amazing that this place is still here, and it's actually quite a spectacle seeing 4 miles of concrete bollards dotted all the way along the beach with pillboxes every now and again. It's quite an unusual sight, and I really like the place. Now, what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to go off and I'm going to go and find somewhere to stay. Now, there's been a lot of graffiti and people camping in these, so I think I'm going to find one of the kind of more outlying buildings. I think possibly a searchlight building like the one that's here. There's another one at the other end, and I'll see if I can find somewhere to set up my tent. Well, that's me all set up, and I've had a look around, and this isn't a spotlight building. Spotlight building's over there. I think this was the fire control observation post, and I think the thing with the bolt ring in is where there was a spotting scope that would call where the shots were falling when the big guns fired out to sea. So I think that's what this is. This is the kind of fire control building. But now I'm set up, I think it's time for a quick brew. There we go, time for tea. Yeah, that's good. So I'll see you when it's time for my dinner, and I've got something a bit different tonight. I am not having spicy noodles tonight. Well, it's 5 o'clock and it's still light, which is brilliant because some of my camps through the winter, it's been getting dark at 3 o'clock. So it's going to be a bit unusual to cook my dinner in the daylight, and I'm doing something a bit different today. I'm having hot dogs. Yep, I know, it's good old-fashioned camping food. I've got some really good quality hot dogs, some German ones from Lidl's, and I got some, I went in there this morning to get some buns, and I normally like the kind of cheap and cheerful ones, but the only ones they'd got was brioche, so I've got some fancy hot dog rolls as well, and I've got my special hot dog sauce, which is French cheese, mustard, and ketchup mixed together in one bottle, 50-50, and it's just perfect. Bit down the bread, hot dog in, bit on the top. So I'm going to get them on the boil, and I'm going to eat them one at a time because it's so cold. Problem I had last time I was cooking food in this sort of temperature that I hadn't got a boiling broth around it is they chill down really fast. So I'm going to boil them in the pot. I've got a special pot I use for hot dogs. It's a bit taller, and I'm going to eat one at a time, and we'll see how many I can get through. I've got 6 hot dogs and 6 rolls. Not sure I'll do all of them, but you know me, I might just do. And oh yeah, and pudding. What have I got for pudding? 2 seconds. A gift from my good lady wife, rice pudding, but not just any rice pudding. Let's see if that'll focus on that. Deluxe rice pudding. So we will find out what makes this one deluxe. So rice pudding for tea. It might be for breakfast, but we always have pudding. We'll just see how I get on when I've had the hot dogs, but I'm interested to see what makes this deluxe. So I shall set up and get some food on the go, and I'll bring you back. Well, I'll let you watch me hot dogs set up, and then I'll bring you back when I eat them. Don't think there's much point in putting the lid on, but That's my hot dog sauce, 50-50 ketchup mustard, but Frenchie's mustard. Now the water's just about boiling, I'm going to flip them over one at a time. Was that one there, was it? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it down to the simmer. There we go. We'll keep them with a bit of simmering water while I cook, while I set up my bread. So we'll go big line of mustard and ketchup. Lovely. And then take one out. Stick it in. Bit more ketchup maybe. Bit more. There we are. And I'll leave them there in the simmering water so they're nice and hot when I have my next one. You forget how good hot dogs are. And if you buy decent hot dogs, these are Lidl's ones you buy in a jar, and I think it's worth paying extra money for them. That is really good camping food. I forgot how good they are. So tonight I'm going to polish off as many of these as I can, and I've got a small can of Project 1079 lager. Just the one can. It'll wash these down nicely. So I'm going to eat the rest of my hot dogs, drink my beer. I'll come back to you when I've finished. Wow, hot dogs are done, and yeah, they beat me. I mean, 6 was probably a bit too many. One left. I managed 5 and I'm absolutely stuffed, but that was really nice. I will definitely be having hot dogs again. I know there's a lot of spicy noodle fans out there, and I'm not going to stop eating spicy noodles, but every now and again, some good quality hot dogs with some good Frenchie's mustard, some decent ketchup. Absolutely brilliant. And that beer is really nice. It's a Pilsner. Where is it? Here we go. I haven't quite finished it yet. 1079 Pilsner. I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink alcohol that often, but that's nice and it's not too strong. What is it? 4.6% by volume. So, you know, a sensible alcohol level. I actually really enjoyed that. So I wouldn't normally throw food away, but one roll, one hot dog, going to go in the bin bag. I've collected quite a bit of rubbish already, and there's an absolute ton of it along the beach. I'll pick up as much as I can, and I'll carry that bag out in the morning. I've got my magic picker with me, so I'll be cleaning up as I go. But the rice pudding, maybe later, more likely breakfast. Does make a really good breakfast. So, cup of coffee and a tin of rice pudding in the morning, quite possibly. But I'll let you know in the wash up why that one, or if it is, deluxe. But anyway, I'm going to set up. It's not quite dark yet. I can't believe it's still light, but it's dropping very quickly. And I've bought my big camera with me. I don't normally bring it with me, but I've put up with the weight. I bought a few lenses, and I'm going to see if I can get some decent star shots tonight. So I'm going to go and set up and do that.
Well, it's midnight and it's time for bed, and I've had a great evening. I had some good scran, and then I spent a good couple of hours messing around with my Canon mirrorless camera and an old fisheye lens, an old manual fisheye lens, to see if I could get some decent star pictures. Now, I've been doing photography for donkey's years, but I'm still learning, and I'm messing around with manual lenses on a digital camera, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'll put my pictures up now, and I'll say good night, and I'll see you in the morning. So, see you in the morning.
Well, good morning, everybody. And, well, this makes a change getting up in the daylight. It's just after 7 o'clock and it's light. I'm all packed up. I've got a cup of tea and my rice pudding for breakfast. And again, I don't normally mess around having a cup of tea, but there we go. But this morning I'm taking my time packing up and leaving. So, tent's gone, all packed, all nice and tidy. And I'll leave the place tidier than I found it, most definitely. And I've got my big bag of rubbish that I should be picking up as many bottles and cans as I can on the way out. So I'm going to get this down my neck and walk back. And I'll see you back when I get home for a wash up, for the highs and lows and anything else I forgot to tell you at the end of the video. So I'll see you at the end. Well, that's me back home, and what a great camp that was. What a brilliant place. Thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're interested in going there, I'll put the what 3 words locations in the description below. Yeah, I was expecting to get visitors overnight. There's a lot of evidence of people camping there before me, but no, nobody came, and I got the place all to myself, and it was lovely and quiet. I guess that's the benefits of camping midweek. Well, what about the rice pudding, I hear you ask? Well, yeah, it was deluxe. It was nice, creamy, with a vanilla hit, and it looks like I will be having that for breakfast again. I think I'll be buying the posh stuff in future. Now, you might wonder why it is I camp in a tent inside a building, and in the middle of the summer I'll probably just use a bivvy bag, but this time of year it's still dropping down below 0 at night, and being inside the tent just traps a little bit more temperature, and it can be, you know, a 4 or 5 degree difference between the external temperature and the temperature inside the tent, and that's just great at this time of year. It just keeps you a bit warmer, so that's why. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be great if you left me a thumbs up and a comment, and if you're not already subscribed, clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks for that. So until the next one, I'll say ta-da. Ta-da a bit.